Howdy folks, if you've been watching my playthrough of Tunic, this episode is completely optional. You don't have to watch it at all. This entire episode is solely me trying to decode the puzzle that is the Tunic language. These lines right here, which says secret legend by the way. If that doesn't interest you, you can skip straight to the next episode. You will not miss any of the gameplay, the narrative, or the puzzles. If you are interested in seeing how I solve a puzzle like this, here you go. Last time, on Tunic, it got everyone, and now everyone's been contained. And maybe, is the librarian trying to contain everyone?
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
I'm going to bank the information that means the letter T, and I'm going to move on to something else. Wait, what? Wait, hang on, wait, no, wait. Howdy folks, this is a bit of a continuation from where we left off in Tunic, but going down a slightly different route. I left off trying to decipher this. Now, it's been a long while since I've had to decode a language in a video game. I honestly can't remember the last game I played where I had to do that. It's been a very, very long time. Now, yes, the easiest thing for me to do would just be to look on the internet for translations and just be done with it. But where's the fun in that? I would like to get to a point where I can say I have decoded the language, and then I'll go and look at translations for the whole booklet, because I could be here for hours trying to translate everything. But if I can decode this myself and get to the point where I understand what each of these symbols mean, and then translate, you know, some of this text, I'll be happy with that. So I've taken each of these symbols, and I made a little graphic. Ta-da! So one of the first things I noticed while I was doing this is there are clearly two different sets of symbols here. They are arranged in a hexagon, as if it were like a 3D cube, but it's a hexagon. This top set is the outline of the hexagon, and this bottom set are inside lines of the hexagon. Also, this over here, where it said sword or weapon or knife means this, these two here, but this symbol is a combination of these two. But it is a combination of one of the inside lines and one of the outside lines. Same with up here. So these two are these two. If I've got that right. Further observation, there are too many symbols here to be a straight one-for-one swap of the alphabet. Unless it's a foreign language alphabet, in which case I am a little screwed because I don't know them. So, if this is a three-letter word, I don't know a three-letter word for sword. This one up here is a three-symbol word, but the first one is a double symbol. So whether that means it's a three-letter word or a four-letter word, I have no idea either. Although that symbol there is the same one as here. Now, unless I've missed something, there isn't actually any more guidance on how to translate the language. This apparently is all you need to do it. If it's not giving me any more, then that should be enough, right? Also, a lot of these symbols have circles under them, but there's nothing here saying what that is. Also, all of the language has a line through the middle, but none of these symbols have a line through the middle. The only idea I have about a three-letter word for sword or weapon, which is a bit out there, is pen, because pen is mightier than the sword. So maybe that means pen, but do we reckon it's mean, it could be syllables. Sword is a 2-syllable word. So is knife. So is weapon. I mean, it could be a 2-syllable word. Is this called the hero sword? I mean, I've been calling it the hero sword. I don't know if it is sword. It is called sword. So the first symbol is these two, and the inside lines, the one in blue, is the one being used. And that does appear there and there in the stick language. Sword. Sword. Something something's. Something something's. Sword. Wait. Sword? Sword. Something something's. Sword. So is this the syllable? But this is the S of saw, and this is the O of saw. So this together is saw, but this is S and then O. And then this is something, something, something. So let's say this is this, right? And if we're going by how it sounds, then this is how that would look. Because you don't really pronounce the W. I know I sometimes pronounce the W in sword, but that's just me being silly. Face isn't 3 syllables, is it? Face. 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 Is face 3 syllables? I don't think face is 3 syllables. I mean, it sounds like it's 3 syllables. But then the first syllable is a combination of 2. So wouldn't if this and the O in sword is combined into 1 syllable, then the F and R of face would be combined into the first syllable. In which case, face would be 2 syllables, two symbols. It'll be F, R, and then S. But this is 3, and a combination of 2 in the first one. So it can't be face either, right? I need more information to go on. Does this help me? Fairy spring. I would like just give me the just give me like a word, and then the translation of that word under the word. Blah. LT. Blah. A. Blah. Hold on. Ooh. Maybe here there's something. So, up here it says A, blah. And then over here it says LT trigger, blah. But it looks like it's the same thing. What do the contents say about page 12 and 14? Controls. Controls. Control. That's way too many syllables for control. Controls is 3 syllables. I'm going to be here for some hours. This is going to be bothering me. A blar and B blar. My initial thought would be that is A button, LT button. 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 These individually are not syllables, right? I've been thinking about this a bit wrong, haven't I? Because, yes, sword is 2 syllables, but this... Like, I'm attributing every single one of these to be a syllable, but then I'm saying that these 2 syllables together make a syllable. But it's not, it's S, or, which is like two sounds combined together. There are 3 symbols in a line. The first one has an inside line and an outside line. The second one has an inside line and an outside line. The third one only has an inside line. Baton. Baton. It's over there, but how about the compass? What did I say? I've got 3 things potentially, right? I got an S, I got a D, and I got an OR. So if there is a south, then the bottom one should have the S. North, east, south, west. The east should have one, the west should have one. North should have orth, right? N-O-R-S. So it should be north. There is an or in north. So north has this on the outside, and then this one up here on the inside. Again, ignoring the line in the middle because everything has a line through it. So if that's north, that definitely says nor. But there's no TH sound, it's just nor. And the bottom one, down here where it should be south, and south on the compass definitely has the S. Again, ignoring the line in the middle, it's definitely these 2 symbols, right? So south definitely begins with S, but it goes S, ah. It's obviously not south. And if there is a th sound, then the th isn't on south or north. So that's what we have. Maybe. West, east and west. So west are these 2. Now if north is only nor, and it's the first sound in north, and south is only sao, and it's the first symbol, then west must also be 1 symbol sound, right? So it's going to be where. And yes, I know west isn't spelt W-E-A, but if we're going by how it sounds, then it's west, right? It's not west. East does have an S, as I've just noticed it has an S, but one of the lines is missing. It also has a little circle at the bottom. And it has this around the outside. So it has an S, but it also has this. But east isn't... It doesn't start with S. It goes east, not east. Why would it... Is there another word for east I'm not familiar with? One thing I'm noticing after filling in these symbols with different things, these are all like consonants, and these are all vowels. So are the outside line vowel sounds and the inside line consonant sounds? If I'm on the right path, not necessarily... I can't imagine I've necessarily got these right. But if I'm on the right path, then does that distinction make sense? But still, east is ES, not SE. Is that what the little circle's for? Am I supposed to reverse the symbol sound from consonant to vowel to consonant if there is a circle? If we combine the two symbols, it's E, but if we go on the premise that a circle means reverse it, that means E. How would I go about testing this theory? Wasn't there another page with the compass on? Yes. Does it, hang on, does it have the same symbols before I commit to anything? The line S in north. It does, okay. So they're pointing at northeast, southwest with different things. So do I know any of these symbols? I know a few, actually. I know the... Wait, hang on, wait, hold on, wait, hold, wait, hang on, wait, wait. So obviously we did south, right? There's an S and there's an O, but this one underneath it, pointing to it, is something else, but it's also got the O sound, but we also know the inner line because we did sword. We're saying this one here is D. So underneath south, the two symbols underneath south is... They're these two. Duh. Ow. That sounds silly when I say it out loud, but if south is down, then this all makes sense, right? So this one, right? Left. That should be left, but this is also west. And this should be W-E, as in where. But there's no st. It's just where. So this should be... le. West, left. The outer line is exactly the same as the outer line in west, which is these two. It's just the inner line on the one outside here. The inner line here is a line down the middle, not this bit here. Then that should be left. Right? No, not right, it's left. What if we say that is left? God, it sounds so weird saying all this out loud. This one is right. right, and then this one up here is up. Do I assume that this one is the whole word up? Because up is a very short word, it's only like one sound. It's up. Unless this is like the U in up, and it's like ah, and it's like UH or something. It can't be that complicated, can it? I'm going to go off the... Oh, actually, no, I don't think I should... The circle underneath the symbol, that means reverse the vowel sound and the consonant sound. As, I mean, I've only had one translation, but that's how that circle worked in the translation of east. This one here, right? Otherwise it would be the SE rather than ES. This, under the assumption it's up, the circle would make sense there because up is UP. But without the circle there, it would be PU. So with the circle, and under the assumption that it's going vowel consonant because of the circle, it would be UP, which means this is pa. This, right? I feel like something along the line must be wrong. Okay, hang on. I'm thinking. Oh, the pain of my single brain cell. So, hang on, let's assume that this is right. Or at the very least, let's assume that this center one is R, and then the outside one is I. It's these two symbols, and let's assume that that's right. So that would be R and that would be I. Let's assume that much. So, assuming I've got up correct and I've got right correct, I have the P in up and I have the R in right. That would mean that this is P, R, something. And it's the information page for praying. So is this pray? A. Pray. I mean, it does have a little circle down there, so if it's the vowel, if the circle means vowel first, then consonant, that would mean the first sound the P, the next sound the R, then the final symbol would be the A and then Y. So it would be per-a. I would assume, if I got up and right correct, that means pray. The problem I have here, right, is that it's not written language, it's sounds. Y sounds like a vowel. It's pray. It'll be the EE sound, right? But we already got E, right? Where did we get E from? God, I already forgotten where we translated these from. So we already got EE from somewhere. So going back to these pages with the A blah 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 and the LT blah blah blah, there are three symbols there. Now the first symbol, the outer line, has the same symbol as the R in up. And the last symbol has the same symbol for N in north. So does that mean that this is Barton? Barton. 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 That would mean the inner line here is B, and the inner line here is T, and then N. But there's also an outer line with the T. But, or is it, so how would I test any of this? So we're saying that line over there is B with the B, and then the second one, T-O for tor. Right here, right here in the middle. And then the last one is N. N with no outer line. It's just N. The middle symbol next to shield has an L, right? Because we said L was just a great big line for when we did left. When we deciphered left on the compass, we said the big line was just L. So the middle symbol next to shield is L, and the last symbol is D. We have D. The first symbol has to represent shield. No, just she. Then it goes ld. Do I know E? Hang on. E. Shield. Wait, that is it, right? That is it? It's got two missing from the hexagon. It is. So we know yield. The entire word from the word next to the picture of a shield, we know yield. Over there, that's SH, right? Does it make sense that it's separate from S? Maybe. I mean, if we're going by phonetics rather than written word, that would make sense. It is a different sound. Does that make sense, however? Because the word underneath it... Oh dear, the word underneath it. The word underneath it. Okay, hang on. So the word underneath it has three symbols. The one over here next to the potion bottle, the health potion bottle. The last symbol is N. I think it's safe to assume that is N at this point because everything else makes sense, so I can get rid of the question mark. We just translated the sh in shield, and we know the outer line, which are these two. Sh, ah. So the second of three is sh, and the last of three is n, and we're looking at a potion. The first symbol, so we're looking at potion, and we got the P, the sh, the R, and the n. What's confusing me here is that we got O. That's south, isn't it? That's south. It's not potion, so it's not. So it wouldn't be this. I forget where we got this from. But if it was the O, where do we get the O from? Does that make sense? It's the south in it's the O in south and it's the O in potion. I'm going to look just at this line here. I know this, this, and this. This one here is L-I? No, L-O. That can't be right. Law. Where did I get this from? I don't remember. This one here, I got from here with the T in button. So I know L, and I know that one, so it's law. I know this one over here, that's D. Right? Yeah, D. And R, I know R. So, something Lord a civilization. Their Lord a civilization? Their Lord a civilization? They loved a civilization. They loved a civilization? There is a civilization. The civilization. A civilization? The civilization. A civilization. The loved civilization. The loathed civilization. The loathed. I don't know what the middle one here is yet, but I know that's L-O and then D and then so something Lord a civilization. Something loved a civilization? I'm going to assume that the line going through every single symbol is telling us, like, that's a full word. Like, where there's breaks in a line going across, that's a break in a word. So this little bit here is a word. Then all across this line here, that's one word. Something something loved a civilization of. I mean, the translation, I mean, it matches up. Civilization. So we're saying this is V, right? And there's an R, a T, and this is P, and O for south. So something loved a civilization of Pow. Now, phonetically, that sounds like they loved a civilization of great power. Contextually, that makes sense. Which means the final symbol at the end of that sentence, this one over here, would be to make power. And then so G for great, and then in power. So that's technically the first line, right? Something loved a civilization of great power. I mean, it looks so goofy, and I feel like I fucked up somewhere, but I mean, they loved a civilization of great power. It weirds me out. Why is it loved? I don't actually have the first word, do I? So the first word is these two. And I don't have either of those, so I can't logic that out. Like, if I did the next line, do you reckon I could logic something out of that? So we know this is B, we know this is L, we know this is T, and they got the outside line here, which is the same as the outside line above it, which is the LO from loved. I'm gonna have to do this again, aren't I? Hold on. Bolt a city. Bolt a city. City. They bolt a city? They built a city. The built a city. Built a city. Bolt a city? Bolt a city. A city. Something bolt a city, not one something to city bolt. Bolt a city. Bolt. Loved. If it was I mean, we already got I, right? Right. That was the I in right. But if the one up here for button was I instead, then this wouldn't say bolt, it would say built. Something built a city. Something city, something built. And then this would say something lived a civilization of great power. But then the O in button, unless it's button, do you say button? I mean, if it's phonetically, do people say button? I say button. Do people say button? Push the button. This one. Right there. We know that's an L, we know that's an R, we know that's an O, right? We've got the R from right, the O from potion, and the L from left. So this must say roll. Roll. R-O-L. Roll. Roll. If that's R, that's and that's N, that means run. Run. Surely I've got some of these right then. Button might be fucking me up, but surely I've got a lot of these right. If this makes sense. What was that? I haven't got that one yet. I haven't got those yet. I don't. What is this? Lock. Target lock. Face your adversaries. Lock. I mean, there is an L there. There's definitely an L. What if the one over there says lock? I have definitely fucked up somewhere, haven't I? Because we got the O in potion, the lock in lock, and the button in button. And the O, the the A, the E, O, I, E. So back at here, this one here, which we just said is the K in lock. And there's the outer line here. Where we're saying is the O sound in lock. So something fox. Fox? Fox. Does that say fox? Does that make sense if it says fox? I mean, he is a fox. Would it make sense if it's a fox? Would it make sense if fox? Fox? It could be fox. I really didn't guess fox at all. It's wild. So the two fairy chests up here, 1 and 2, these two are marked from the flower patterns that you find in the overworld. The pink flowers, and you follow the white flowers. So this is F, and that is L. Hello, hand. FL. La. L. O. Something. The last symbol has a circle under it, so it's ER first, but then it's... But then it is that symbol over there. If it was flowers, it would be this one. But it's definitely flower. Share your wisdom. Share your wisdom. What do we have any of these done? So again, we got this line here, which is the O in button and the O in bolt and the O in loved, that we're saying it might not be O from button, but it might be I, which is the I in lived and the I in built, if you're pronouncing button as buttin. We also know this line up here, which is W, where wa. But we've also got the line from what was the end of flowers. It might have been flowers. And then we have D, UH, and then something else. So this is what the first word here looks like. Water something. I'm going to change the first O to I, because it might be I instead of O. Now, this symbol over here that we've got highlighted is in this word. It was in the word for at the end of flower as well. Now this is on the page for share your wisdom. Now you pronounce wisdom with a Z. You don't say wisdom. You pronounce it with a Z. You go wisdom. The end of flowers. If that's Z, that makes sense for the end of the flowers page, right? Because then that would be flowers. So this might be wisdom. Like that. I know that's not how you spell it, but there we go. Which means we're missing the final line symbol from that word, which is this one up here. M. Wisdom. Surely, right? Surely that's that. That must be that. Surely it's that. So the next word, both the outside and the inner lines of the first symbol I don't have yet. The second one is a T. So wisdom, so inner and outer line I don't know, but there's a T. And then it's Z, O, but there's a circle underneath it, so it's OZ, but because we think we have the O wrong, it's IZ. So that could be is. I definitely think the O in button is wrong. Because wisdom something Oz. That doesn't make sense. Then there loved a great civilization when it should be perhaps lived a great civilization. That makes more sense. Bolt a city rather than built a city. I definitely think the O in button is wrong. So for the time being, I'm going to change that. So this is what I've translated from what I have. Wisdom blah is tempered by kindness. Is no wisdom blah blah. Be free. What if? So there are two symbols here that are eluding us. This one here and that one over there. What if we say this one over here is A for that, and the one over there is TH for that? This would make the translation, wisdom that is untempered by kindness is no wisdom at all. Be free. Huh? Huh? I mean, it sounds like I did a thing. So going back to the first line of the story, lived a civilization of great power. So what if this one here is ERE, there lived a civilization of great power. See, like that. Surely that's right. Surely. Going back to the second line and putting in the changes, and this line over here that I said was it began with N, but I realize there's a circle underneath it, so it's going to be the vowel sound before the consonant. It now reads built a city, and within that city, the built. And these are the two we're missing. This one on the first word, if it's they built a city, and within that city, they built. The one over here now, now reading that in context, that sounds like it should read as they built a city and within that city they built. But we already have a TH, right? Within, the TH in within and the TH in the they. And I wish I knew more about phonetics. So we're not missing that many more now, are we? So this one here, again, is the outer line is the one we had as O, but we changed to an I. PRI. So this is that correct? Those two. It's the full middle line plus the I line. But it's definitely PR. It has a circle, so it's the I first and then the consonant sound. Pry, prayed, praying. Does praying make sense there? Is that ing? That Praying. Praying. I mean, that would make it praying, wouldn't it? On the page, it makes sense. That would be praying. Stick. Something... something erst. Erst, stick. That says stick. That says that says erst. So that's the UH, then it's ST for ost, then it's the UH again, right? Yeah. Then it's the S, then it's the T, then it's the I, that was an O, then it's K. So it's this one. So it's that one over there. I'm going to say it's a J. And I'm going to say that this says just a stick. So this is what I've got so far from the first paragraph of the story. There lived a civilization of great power. They built a city, and within the city they built a palace. They... something secret. The secrets was the secret Holy Cross, and understood the planea utility. There's some things the something. They something the something sure. They something the something sure, and sat power from the species between. Am I close? So this line here, the Holy Cross and understood something, the planner. I'm assuming that word is understood. So this symbol up here must be double O. I've just noticed that I got a couple of these wrong, so I'll change those. What sounds do I not have? I don't have a H. I don't have a ch. C. I don't have a CH. I don't have a H. I never put it in, but this one over here I was going to do as V. For the of in the word after civilization. I do hope you're following this all right. There's a lot of lines going on. So I'm looking for chest. This one here, that's a G, and around it is O that we found in potion, L and D. So that says gold. Gold est. So this line here must be CH. Yeah? Fill that in, that might get us somewhere. So I can put a CH here, and that makes nature. This word here, I've just noticed there is actually a circle there, so the R goes the other way around. It's also of. I should have seen that, but it's the same of as before. They something sacred, the secrets of the Holy Cross, and understood the planar. They understood the planar nature of reality. They understood the plainer nature of reality. There lived a civilization of great power. They built a city, and within that city they built a palace. They something sacred the secrets of the Holy Cross and understood the plainer nature of reality. Now, if it's talking about plainer nature of reality, I'm going to assume spaces, like literal locations and geometry. The only reason I'm hung up on species is because the purple goop has glowy spiders. So it might be species. So they something to the something shore. It wouldn't be that they wield sacred the secrets of the Holy Cross, would it? It's either they held sacred the secrets, or they wield sacred the secrets. Wielding it sounds like an odd sentence. I also have a W. Yeah, we got that from West. We don't have a H. So that might be H. We got this one anyway, V. V something. N. Oh, it's CH. D. They ventured. This is why we double check. I got it all backwards, and it didn't make sense, but now I got it right. That sounds like they ventured. They ventured to? So, ventured to, but the oo here is different from the understood over here. Understood is more like a U sound. Sorry, I should have been circling this the entire time, shouldn't I? I just realized it might be useful. So we've got this word here. We have the F, but we don't have the outer line. Do I see this symbol anywhere? Oh, I do, actually. Right here, back on this page, it's there. That says soul something tucked away. So does that mean that this symbol here is R? Because then that would read, souls are tucked away in all. I say K Z N Kun. Fairy souls are tucked away in all corners. That's what that top line says, right? Fairy souls are tucked away in all corners. I don't know what the rest is. I didn't translate the rest of that. I just did the first sentence. Meaning that this word says far. There lived a civilization of great power. They built a city. Within that city, they built a palace. They held sacred the secrets of the Holy Cross and understood the plainer nature of reality. They ventured to the far shore and sought power from the spaces between. Technically, I done it. I mean, it reads as a paragraph. There's probably some inconsistencies. I probably have some of the sounds wrong, but overall it's right. So this is what I translated for the second paragraph. As is oo. I'm missing some crucial letters there, I think. An alluring old power was discovered. Fossils of self annealed visions of the future, entombed and cast into sarcophagi and buried, alive in the canonical plane, a store of potential. Perhaps it is the fabled prize, the power to defy death. Don't know why I wrote T there. Logicking it out. Is that a word? Logicking it out. Annealed visions of the future. If that says visions of the future, visions of the future, which means this word up here is, that's oo and that's sh. That means that's usual. Hold on, let me write this out. Becomes one of the wildest spellings I've ever seen of the word usual, but phonetically that says usual. As is usual, an alluring old power was discovered. Fossils of self, annealed visions of the future, entombed and cast into sarcophagi and buried, a lever into the canonical plane, a store of potential. Perhaps it is the fabled prize, the power of death, or the power to defy death. Ah? It's interesting, isn't it? Does this answer any questions about the story? Wait. The librarian. What am I looking at? Is it just gibberish? The chalkboard in the library. In my mind it was like, it looks like a guy in a sarcophagus, but that's fucking weird. Wait, does it actually? You know when when I first saw the creatures being put into the monoliths, and I was like, oh, the librarian, I saw the chalkboard and it looked like a guy in a sarcophagi. Like, I completely wrote off the idea of a sarcophagi, and fossils of self. Fossils of self? Wait, no, hang on. Wait, no, the people in the monoliths, there's three options here. One, the scavengers are trying to bust the people out of these monoliths. Two, these are older monoliths, and these monoliths contain crystals, not people. Three, the people inside these monoliths turn into crystals. Yeah, look, this is a monolith. It contains crystal. I'm beginning to think the people turned into crystals. Like when the scavengers, they crack them open and there's crystals inside, right? If they are turning into crystals, that would be a fossil of self. They are entombed and cast into sarcophagi, which they're being put into the monoliths and buried at the root of the world. This would make more sense if it was containment. Visions, annealed visions of the future. A lever in the canonical plane. A store of potential. I mean, they do plug into things and they do power stuff. Why would we be using you to connect the purple energy? That would be a store of potential. Perhaps it is the fabled prize, the power to defy death. I thought the woman had the power to defy death. The woman doesn't? Are you telling me that the sarcophagi are the things that has the power to defy death? Not. I honestly assumed that she was like some sort of goddess. I need to translate more. I'm going to read that as I think it says. The discovering hero opened the tomb and revealed the terrible truth. A cathedral was built to venerate this new origin of life, and the faithful were granted the grace of the holy oblivion. The grace of holy oblivion. That sounds delightful. Okay, so this paragraph now. The lever overworked, the fulcrum shattered. A hole in truth will thunder open, and all manner of disquiet contradictions will now apart the conical plane. The thread is snagged into the squirming something. I don't have that symbol. With no beginning and no end. Flee to your arcs, old ones, and become your predestined selves. Now there is one there that I don't have. It's this little line here. Over there, between the K and the L. The thread is snagged into a squirming kill. A squirming kill? A squirming coal? Squirming cal? Koi? Kill? Coop? Walla 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 walla. That's lock button west u r e u r r e i u u r e r e r o. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. I don't have an oil. Oil? I don't have oil. 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 Coil. If I said that's oi, does that make sense? I guess we won't know until we find that symbol again. However unlikely that might be. So that's these two story pages. If I can successfully translate this page, I will call that a success. Why? What would that translate to? Hold on. You don't pronounce H, do you? So I'm not looking for H, I'm just looking for air, which would mean... yes. So that over there should say the air. Ta-da! But one must live outside the shivering ring, the air seeking an heir to the air. A beacon to bring about the ruin seeker, to either grow strong and replace an ailing heir, or to hold sacred holy cross and ensure their wisdom lives on. To either grow strong and replace the ailing heir, which explains why when I killed the heir in the first place I took over. Doesn't really explain why I have to take over, but that explains the end of the game. Or to hold sacred holy cross. Grow stronger and replace, or share the wisdom. Makes sense, doesn't it? Which will you be, ruin seeker? Have you arrived here seeking treasure and glory? Or do you seek to uncover deeper truths? Look carefully, for the golden path lies everywhere. Indeed. So I think it's safe to say that I have translated it. If things are making sense, I'm not going to do the whole book. I'm not going to do that. What I will do before I end this video is I'm going to do the one page that has been bothering me this entire time. This one. This one can go swill, because it has made me confused this entire game. I swear, if it's nothing, I'm gonna be mad. So, you know what I just said about being mad if this doesn't really... if it's not really a puzzle or anything. So, what this reads as is... Many sought the secrets of this world, drawn by the great power, and other secret legends. The librarian has learned much, including powerful sorceries. He makes his home high above the clouds, awaiting for foolish ruin seekers to bring him more pages. Although powerful, his tragedy is his belief that the Holy Cross resides in the cathedral. He will never visit the far shore. You are the heir. You are not the one who defies death. Though I am interested, when you die the first time in the game, you do travel to the heir. And then you come back to life. So I always assumed it was the heir who had the power to bring you back to life, because of that first cutscene. And the librarian will never visit the far shore. And here's the sarcophagi. Ah. So, my assumption was that all of this experimentation was here because he was building this stuff. But if the librarian can't go to the far shore, then it would make sense that someone who experiments is toying with these things in order to try and power this pressure plate in order to get to the far shore. So he didn't build this stuff, he's studying it. Before I end, I'm going to translate this one thing. Point 1, find some rare golden statues, which, you know, sure, that's what I've been doing. Traverse the glow to visit 12 strange beings. Unsing to them the greatest song, the song of the golden path as seen from within. So, well, in any case, I'm going to leave this here, and I'll see you next time. So now I can read. That took me over 5 hours to do, not including the graphics. If you're trying to decode the language yourself and found that helpful or interesting yourself, I hope that was fun to watch. Otherwise, I will see you in the next episode. Cheerio. GR... That says congratulations. Ah.